Yo, my people, what is going on? Welcome to another live stream. Today's the 25th of June 2026. It is currently 9:21 Eastern Standard Time, as you can see over here. And we are about 9 minutes away from market open. So let's quickly just hop over, see what the news events are for today. As you can see, we've had quite a couple of news events come in. Usually Thursdays we'll have our jobless claims. So we don't have any other high impact news for the rest of this particular trading day, which is fantastic news for us. Alright, so let's jump into the charts. I'm going to go ahead, draw out today's levels that we're going to be looking at. We'll start with the Nasdaq. Alright, so what I'm going to do, drop a vertical line on new day open. Then what we'll do over here is just copy and paste that over to the Dow as well. So just go ahead, draw out our 6 p.m. Okay, so there we have our current day low and current day high. Now, if you guys were with me on yesterday's live stream, we took two hefty losses, both of which super painful, not something you want to do, not something I recommend, but you know, that's just trade, it's part of it, you know, and as traders, we got to have a couple sleepless nights where, you know, losses are painful. You just got to let the wound fester, but it just goes to show that you actually want to do this and you want to be successful in this particular industry. And I'm one of those individuals. So yeah, not been the best week. I think we've actually lost about 5 trades. We are down about 1.5k on the week alone. This week alone, we've lost about 1.5k, or 1.8 even. Yeah, not good, not acceptable. Monday we took 2 losses. Shouldn't even have traded Monday. The reason for that is Friday was Independence Day or some bullshit holiday there in America. And the reason I say that is just because on those holidays we can't exactly trade or do anything. So yeah, no offense to the Americans watching. But anyways, general rule of thumb, you don't want to trade on public holidays, nor do you want to trade on the day after a public holiday, alright? So we've already gone over that in yesterday's stream. If you are curious as to why I say that, feel free to go check it out, and you guys will get a little bit more information as to why exactly we don't want to trade on days after a public holiday, alright? Then on Tuesday we took another trade, another loss. Very silly of me to do that, but it was once again just one of those trades that you had to take. We also missed an opportune setup in that particular day, which was very unfortunate. Looking back, hindsight, it's obviously a lot easier said than done, but yeah, it was a fantastic trade that we could have taken that we didn't take, but we're just going to put that in the notebook and make sure that we do execute those specific opportunities the next time they come around. Then yesterday was a very painful day for me. We took 2 trades. We lost both trades. I think we left the market on about $900 loss, which once again, it's not something you want to do, but you know, is what it is. These types of things do happen, and that is trading. What we're not going to do is essentially just let it dictate what the rest of this week is going to do for us. So in today's session, we're going to have to pull off something pretty big here. What I'm doing right now is just showing you guys my execution dash. What I will do over here is show you guys all of the trades that we have taken. So as you can see, we took 2 trades yesterday on the 24th of June. We lost both for about $860 roundabout. The day before we took 1 loss, which was a buy on the Dow. Mold for another $300. Anyways guys, bottom line, over here you can see that the overall P&L is at negative 1.5k USD for the pretty much the month so far, because we put that initial deposit in on the 4th of June. So we're not looking good at all, okay? We're down 1.5k. Now to make matters worse, this is also investors' money. Alright, it's not just my money. So we need to pull shit out off the fucking. This game 7 is what I'm trying to say. Alright, we are down. We need to come back. We need to be very smart with what we do, and we need to be extremely patient in our approach. Alright, so moving forward, this is DEFCON 1 or whatever the fuck you want to call something when it's legit. Alright, shit's real now. Like, can't be messing around anymore. But yeah, like I said, like, yes, we made a couple mistakes. Ultimately, we are going to learn from them. We have learned from them. And let's see what today's session has for us. You know, yesterday was absolutely devastating. I don't want to leave these streams taking a loss in front of you. I obviously want these to be insightful. And the only way we're going to make these specific live streams insightful is once I take trades, once I win trades, and once I establish my credibility with all of you. Now, that's the exact opposite of what I've actually been doing here. But what I have done, even in the losses, is being fully transparent with all of you. I'll show up my broker once more. You can see here XNS, that's my interim broker. This is essentially the company that allows me to participate in the financial markets. Now, I'm not affiliated with them. I don't recommend them to anyone. But what I do want your attention is, where I want your attention is over here. It says real 20. Now the 20 stands for the server number. So we're on server number 20. And the real just essentially states that this is real funds. Alright, so all of these losses are real. They really hurt. All of the wins are real. They are really enjoyable. So yeah, I've shown you guys my account history. And it's not looking good. Alright, there's no way of sugarcoating it. I don't bullshit myself, nor do I bullshit anyone else. Alright, this is not good. It's not acceptable. And it is something we do need to rectify. Alright. So for right now, we have about 2.5 minutes remaining until market opens. Once market opens, we'll once again just remain patient. We want to see exactly what price does. Now, why did we take 2 trades yesterday and why did we lose? We tried to short NQ twice yesterday after NQ had already taken out sell side liquidity. So when I do my pre-market prep and mark out these specific buy side and sell side liquidity levels, this is arguably the most important part of my entire trading session prior to market obviously opening. Now, when market opens, we don't just assume that price is going to levitate towards one of these liquidity levels. We obviously have to remain patient. We need to see confirmation towards the upside or downside, as well as open profit targets, meaning outstanding liquidity levels are still open. So for right now, we can see buy side and sell side are still open, of course, because market is not yet even open. We're about 40 seconds out of the market opening. And as you can see here, I'm just constantly plotting out my buy side level on the Dow. What I'm going to do is essentially just leave this particular candle now, and then as soon as market opens, we'll just quickly go ahead, we'll fix it up, make sure everything is professional for you lot, because at the end of the day, I'm doing this as a service to you guys. I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes that I make. Alright, now mistakes are going to be made, they have been made, and hopefully now we're going to start hitting out some profits. Alright, so long overdue. We've been seeing phenomenal trades. We never want to blame the market. Alright, everything I did yesterday is my fault. I take accountability for that. And when the investors come knocking, it's things like that, you know, you just got to own up. Alright, I took the responsibility, I took the risk, I understand the risk, I understand the game, the complexity of it, and I will not back down, will not give up. This is only the beginning, guys. So chaps, watch the comeback. This shit's gonna be fucking real. Alright, now you guys can't see my current desk, but I've obviously got my PC in front of me. I have a monitor here to the right, so every time I scroll over there or look over there, that's what I'm looking at. Don't be confused. Then I have an iPad over here, which essentially just serves as my monitor. I was originally doing it on the screen in front of you guys, but it's just, it takes a bit too much time, and it's a little bit chaotic where I need simultaneously in order to see that change state delivery or where the price actually goes into our key level. But chaps, I'm absolutely elated to be back. I know we've taken a couple losses in today's or this week, and they've not been good. Alright, there's no way of sugarcoating it. Like I said, it's been a fuck up. It's not been good. Yeah, but nevertheless, we're back, and let's see what today's trading session has for us. Alright, so with that said, stay tuned and watch the magic happen. Alright, cheers to that. Alright, so market's open. we are immediately rallying down lower on the Nasdaq as well as the S&P 500. Now, I do like to look at the market in tandem with one another, meaning I marry my trades together. I never only look at one specific asset. I'm always looking at least two, and I need to see identical price action in two of them. All right. So right now, both the Nasdaq and the S&P is here. If you guys just look at the top of the screens, you'll be able to see S&P 500, then Nasdaq 100, and obviously the Dow Jones Industrial Index. Now, why we want to see a lot of them move together is because the Nasdaq 100 is essentially the top 100 companies, specifically technology or tech, and a lot of those companies are also found in the S&P 500. Whereas it does tend to differ somewhat when it comes to the Dow Jones. That is obviously the Dow Jones Industrial Index. So I'm not too clued up on that. I will need to do some due diligence there. But bottom line, when we are viewing these assets, we always want the Nasdaq and the S&P to essentially come together. We don't mind if one of them lag, but then the Dow Jones needs to reinforce what we are seeing in any of the other assets. Okay, ideally we don't enter the Dow, we enter on either the Nasdaq or the S&P, but we'll touch up a little bit more on that as time goes on. But guys, for right now, we've seen a raid in that particular buy side level for the Dow. So I am not going long on the Dow. Now the good thing is that we are still seeing the same price action on the Nasdaq and the S&P. We've not taken out any major liquidity in form of buy side or sell side as of yet. So that is good news for us. We still have a couple trades that we could essentially build a framework around. But once again, all of that will only come into fruition with time. So time will tell, and patience pays at the end of the day. Now with yesterday's example, like I stated, we essentially should not have traded on Monday. We should not have even taken the long on Tuesday, especially on the Dow. We would have wanted to see that exact same market maker shift on the Nasdaq and the S&P. All right, but once again, that's only on a 1 minute. Okay, so completely dependent on what you trade is going to need specifics. All right, so on a 1 minute, you need to be a lot more specific. Okay, and likewise on a 5 minute, you can be a little less specific, but you still need to be very accurate regardless of whatever time frame you choose to go in. So if I'm looking to take a trade on the 1 minute based off of 1 minute price action and 1 minute confluences, then I can only enter on the Nasdaq and the S&P, and it's very important that both the pairs that I essentially marry together, that form the mitigation and the breaker, still have the exact same liquidity level open. Okay, so if we were looking to go short right now on the Nasdaq and the S&P, that would be good. Why? Because sell side is still open. All right, now that is super important. I cannot overrate or put enough emphasis as to how important that specific component is towards your buys and general understanding of the draw liquidity for this particular session. The entire name of the game here is essentially your draw liquidity. Okay, if you get that wrong, it doesn't matter what you do after that, it's going to be wrong. So that is the building block, and that's the exact thing we've been getting fucking wrong this entire time, which is so frustrating, because had I just followed my rules, we wouldn't have taken the losses we did, and our account would still be on $280, $2,800. It's on 1.18 now. We're down a lot, alright? We're down a boatload of cash. It's not good, okay? It's not good, but I'm still in the game. That's the most important part. I'm not giving up, alright? I know I have an edge in this market. I know I can be the best in this industry. I'm going to give it my fucking all, and you lot are going to get to see it live, alright? So stay tuned for that, because it's going to be one hell of a roller coaster. Lord knows it, man. Alright, so right now let's see what the 5 minute can give us here. We're going to go ahead and put the 5 minute chart there on the Dow as well. Right, so good news. There's no SMT as of yet. Alright, so Nasdaq still trading lower, which is good. You can clearly see that there's a difference between the Dow Jones and the Nasdaq. The Dow Jones is traded past buy-side liquidity, okay? So it's at a deep premium, whereas the Nasdaq is at equilibrium. It's sitting between buy-side and sell-side. When I talk about equilibrium, it's essentially just the midpoint of our two draws on liquidity, alright? Now, I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you guys and say that every single trading session we will see sell-side and buy-side both taken. But what I will sit here and say with wholehearted conviction is that we will see a raid in at least one major form of liquidity for each specific pair. Alright? So for the Nasdaq, we have not taken any liquidity. Alright? For the S&P, we are still not taking any liquidity. Okay? What I'm going to do here, why this is still not drawn out, I'm not sure. I still need to change that on my charts. But frustrating, but you know, is what it is. I'm not going to get too touched up on that. What we will get touched up on is if this thing doesn't fucking play a game or play along, because that's going to really piss me off. Okay, there we go. So we've marked out sell side. Then we are going to quickly go ahead, grab this horizontal line, place it over there on the buy side level. All right, cool. And then we pretty much have our treasure map for the rest of the day. Now all we need to do is essentially wait for the market to align itself. Okay, all of our assets need to align with one another. So likewise, right now we're probably going to see sell side get raided on the Nasdaq or the S&P, either or, maybe both, doesn't matter. But that's a good thing, because what we would be doing after that is essentially targeting that buy side level, or if we get a trade set up, we'll be targeting sell side. It's completely dependent on what the market gives us, okay? But we do need to see alignment with our assets, all right? So with that in mind, let's keep a close eye on the Nasdaq in the middle of our screen, and the S&P will be on the right, okay? And there's a reason I put them together. You can see that once I hover my mouse over the Nasdaq, it gives us the exact same price on the S&P, okay? And that way we can just better monitor price, and it looks a lot better just from an overall standpoint or perspective, okay? So for right now, I can already see that we have some form of SMT here, all right? Now, what do I mean by that? We have a common swing point found at 934 on the S&P and at 933 on the Nasdaq. Now, they don't need to be the exact same swing point at the exact same time. Why? Because the swing point is a 3-candle pattern, okay? As long as the candle that forms the swing point falls within our 3-candle pattern, okay? They both need to have the same swing point during that same 3-candle pattern, if that makes sense. Comment down below if that did not make sense, and I can make a separate video. I can touch up on it right now in the live stream. Completely dependent on how quick you guys can comment and engage. So let me know. Alright, but once again, what we will do is say on the 1 minute, so even though we still have a SMT with the liquidity sweep being the wick, we've now closed below, and there you go, we've essentially raided that level. So we can't take a possible long right there, right now. Not a problem. Why? Because we're sell side open, okay? Sell side's right there. Once price reaches for that sell side, it's essentially going to give us a well, we want to see what price does. We want to see how price reacts once it takes out that sell side liquidity level, and we know that the sell side liquidity level comes in the form of current day low, okay? I always view the marketplace as from a liquidity perspective, so everything prior to 9:30 opening bell is liquidity for me. Hence, I mark our current day high, current day low before the market opens, and then I want to see a raid or a draw on liquidity on either one of those specific liquidity levels. So if we get sell side taken, it doesn't mean we are done for the day. It just means that we can't sell anymore. Why? Because if we were trying to sell, we would target sell side. Does that make sense? I really hope that does make sense, because if you guys just understand that, you can avoid so many losses. If I only practiced what I preached in yesterday's AM session, I would not have taken the 2 losses we did, and I would not have lost about $800 on the day. Very painful lesson, but it's a lesson nonetheless, and we're not going to give up. We're only going to double down, right? So we're going to take absolutely all the rules, all the lessons, all the pain, all the wins, all of it. We're going to compile it. We're going to remain focused for this AIM session, and I'm going to do my absolute best to give you guys a professional technical standpoint from the market on today's AIM session. Okay, but the time has just gone 9:41. We're up. We've had the first 10 minutes of the trade. Now, if we look at our first 15-minute candle, we'll see that it is clearly bearish on the Nasdaq. It is clearly bearish on the S&P, and on the Dow, you can clearly see that we are bullish. So there is somewhat of a cracking correlation there. But we're not going to focus too much on that. We're just going to stay on the 1-minute charts for now. And we want to see exactly what price can do at this particular level. Okay, now every 5 minutes, pretty much every 5 minutes, we are going to go on the 5-minute chart. Every 15 minutes, we'll go on the 15-minute chart. Likewise on the half an hour chart, etc., etc., etc. Okay, but for right now, the Nasdaq has just taken out sell side, so has the S&P, which is fantastic news for us. Why? Because if we look, the Nasdaq and the S&P both still have buy side liquidity intact. All right, meaning we still have a common draw towards the upside, so we can still take longs. What we cannot do is take any shorts. Okay, so our bias for the day is bullish on the Nasdaq and bullish on the S&P 500. So stay tuned for that. We're not going to be looking to take any shorts in today's session whatsoever. If we can get our trade, brilliant. If not, we sit on our ass and we wait. Okay, it's the name of the game. So I'm going to leave you guys a little bit. Enjoy the music. Let me know what you guys think. If you like the music, comment down below. If you don't like the music, comment down below. If you guys want to be a part of the journey and be notified every time these videos or streams come up, we'll be doing this every single weekday, 9:25 to about noon, completely dependent on whether or not we get a trade, or if both of our draws on liquidity are essentially violated, then we essentially end the session. There's not really a point in me just sitting here if I have no draw on liquidity, if I have no objectives, that type of thing. So for right now, we're just going to remain patient, see exactly what the charts do. But the Dow Jones is very different from the Nasdaq as well as the S&P 500. So let's remain patient. I'm going to love and leave you, lads and ladies, and I'll see you guys soon, or chat with you soon. Alright, so what I've essentially just done now is just go back, look at the 15-minute chart on the Nasdaq, the S&P as well as the Dow, and I've just gone ahead and marked out sell side liquidity in form of previous day low. Alright, now that could be a possible reversal point. Once again, we don't want to predict that, but we just marked it out. So once price goes to that specific level, we'll keep our eyes on the chart, see if we can't maybe get a reversal. If so, brilliant. If not, once again, just remain patient. But once again, guys, time will tell, and I'll be with you guys. Yeah, stay tuned, enjoy the music, chat soon. Alright guys, so there you can see we've just had a raid in previous day low. Now this could be a potential turning point for us. Let's see exactly what price does. We do need to then see a confirmation on both the Nasdaq and the S&P for upside potential. But if we don't get to see that, then we're just going to once again sit on our bums and or sit on our hands, essentially do nothing and just wait. Because we still have that previous day low level for the Nasdaq. Perhaps the Nasdaq wants to take our previous day low and then we get a reversal higher. Only time will tell. But for right now, I'm not seeing anything significant. We obviously are very bearish on the Nasdaq and the S&P. I mean, look at what the first 25 minutes or so of the session has already printed out. It's catastrophic for anyone who's taken longs in the day. And guys, this is exactly why I essentially view this first portion of the day as liquidity. Because as you see, as soon as market opens, look at how much more volatile the market is. Now, volatility just refers to how many orders are in the marketplace at that particular point in time and how much money is currently flowing through the market. Obviously, as soon as 9:30 opening bell hits, the market is just flooded with volatility, and that's what makes it move so much, and that's brilliant for us, okay? Especially if you view the first section of the day as liquidity, and that's exactly what I mean. Now, once again, we can see that we've seen at least one significant liquidity raid on every single pair. The Nasdaq has taken out sell side, the Dow has taken out buy side, and the S&P has also taken out sell side in both current day low and previous day low. That's exactly what I mean by at 9:30 we will see some form of liquidity run or sweep. But that does not give us a green light to just enter blindly, okay? We do still need to wait for confirmation and all of these things, all the other confluences like SMT, change in state of delivery across multiple different pairs where both mitigation and breaker will still show us the same drawn liquidity that is remaining, or the same drawn liquidity is still open. For this case, we still have buy side open on the Nasdaq and the S&P, so that's essentially what my target is going to be. Now, if we take a long position, doesn't mean I'm going to be holding until that buy side level. Why? Because we've already taken a significant liquidity level. Had we not taken any sell side and we had a market maker buy model, I would absolutely hold on to the trade until we saw current day high met. And if you guys want a brilliant example of that, you can go ahead and look at Tuesday's price action, especially on the Dow Jones Industrial. You'll be able to see a prime example of that, where the Dow after 9:30 had not taken sell side or buy side, where we saw sell side taken on the Nasdaq and the S&P, and market offered us a market maker buy model towards the upside, of which I should have taken the entry and I should have held until the Dow had taken one significant liquidity level, and that was obviously in the form of buy side. So for right now, let's remain patient, sit on our ass. We've obviously seen sell side taken on the S&P, and now we just want to see what the Nasdaq can do. So we're going to go ahead, look at the 1 minute. As we can see, there is a common swing point here. But I don't think that price will just turn here. I do think that we will still see a sweep or raid in previous day low, at previous day low. So let's stay tuned, enjoy the music, and I'll talk with you soon. Alright guys, so as you can see, Nasdaq very close to taking out that previous day low level. Should we take out that previous day low level, it once again does not mean we are just going to take part in the market, okay? We want to remain patient, we want to wait and see what price does. What can price offer us, okay? Can price offer us some form of market maker buy model? Now, what we're seeing here on the Dow, okay, we do have a common swing point at 955 on all of our indices, okay? We might see a change in state of delivery towards the upside. Even if we get that, I'm not looking to take part, okay? That's exactly how I've been burned in the past, is by essentially trying to trade the Nasdaq and that one. What we could perhaps do is enter a long if we see a change in state of delivery on both the Nasdaq and the S&P, because it looks like the Dow has pretty much already done that or will do that, okay? If we can see that confluence pan out, that would give me a very good indication to want to go long. But once again, I think it's best for me probably just to remain patient, see what happens. Alright, so with that said, let's just wait, let's just see, and I'll keep you guys updated. Cool. Yeah, so I'll take that back. All right, I still don't want to trade this, and the reason for that is obviously we've been burnt in the past by trying to do the exact same thing. All right, where the only difference is that the Dow is now the breaker. I mean the mitigation, whereas our other pairs are essentially our breakers. But yeah, I think just to be safe, especially that we've already taken so many losses within this past week, we do need to take the safer option. And the safer option for us is just to see that cracking correlation between the Dow, the Nasdaq and the S&P are up. We're just going to use the Dow as essentially strength and weakness. Or if we go to a higher time frame, perhaps that would work. But yeah, just for our use case and for our specific example right now, we don't want to take that particular trade. Alright. Alright, so I'm seeing a little bit of a retracement here. Ideally, I do still see a push below this particular low where we can take previous day low, and thereafter we see that push towards the upside. That would be the ideal scenario for me. Alright. Now, don't know if we're going to get that, because it does look like price just wants to obviously move today, which is just so frustrating, because in the past we've seen the exact same thing happen, except perhaps it wasn't the same because of the draw on liquidity that was still open. I don't know. We'll figure that one out as time goes on. But like I said, for right now, I don't want to take lower probability trades. I'd rather be a little bit more patient and wait a little bit longer in order to get the ideal setup. And I still wouldn't have been able to take that trade regardless, because technically our Dow Jones is the mitigation pair, because it's failed to take out this particular swing low over here, which is a common swing low on the Nasdaq as well as the S&P. You can see there that one came out at 955. If you look over here, 955 is the exact same swing low. So it's a common swing low across all of our indices, which is brilliant for us. But both the mitigation and the breaker pair need to have the same form of liquidity open, and we've obviously seen buy side taken on the Dow, where we have not seen buy side on the S&P or the Nasdaq. So essentially our mitigation pair has already taken its liquidity. I don't want to trade, or I don't want to take that particular trade. We're going to remain patient, okay? If we get our trade set up, cool. But what we don't want to do is be right today, wrong tomorrow, wrong the next day. Does that make sense? We want to look for something that is consistently profitable, and I've just seen that with the Dow, the Dow is pretty confusing. The Dow can give you some mixed signals at times, whereas the Nasdaq and the S&P, if they move in tandem with one another, very strong, very good, and we like that. And that's essentially what we want to see. Whether we're going to see it here, I don't know, possibly not. It does look like it's probably just going to fucking rally to the moon and leave us. But yeah, that's a frustrating thing about trading, truly. Like, wasn't even supposed to take the losses we did in this past week. Maybe the one. I definitely say the one was valid, and that was on Tuesday. And then we missed a fucking trade. We literally missed, we missed a very high probability trade on Tuesday. And when I say it's high probability, is because it's not high frequency. More often than not, if you find something that works, or if you find something that is high probable, you're able to backtest it, but you'll also come to the conclusion that it doesn't happen as often as something that is a bit low probability. And I just don't think that probability and frequency in trading go hand in hand. So yeah, very frustrated with that one, but you know, sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss, and yeah, we didn't quite catch that trade, is what it is. So let's see what happens for the rest of the session. I'm gonna mute myself so that you lot can enjoy the music. It is fantastic music in my opinion. Of course I'm biased, but that's why I need your feedback. I need you guys to comment, to like, to subscribe. You guys know the drill, alright? I'm not making this YouTube shit up for the first time. But anyways, it's enough of me. Chat soon. Damn, guys, that is a little bit frustrating because I do believe that that is possibly our trade for the day. Done. That would have literally been a 1 to 2 in like a couple minutes, and that is what you see from like perfect price action, and that was perfect price action. I mean, quite literally, it's not even been 10 minutes, and come on, bro, what can't with you? There you go. 1 to 2 would have been hurt. Would have been able to go break even as well. Yeah. Fuck, that's phenomenal. Alright, well, that's. We're not gonna wrap it up there, of course not. But yeah, that was very good. That was very good. That was very good. What I like about this particular one is that the Nasdaq and the Dow, right, they still have liquidity open. They still have the same liquidity open. They need to be the exact same. They cannot differ. Okay, what I mean by that is they were both the breaker and they both have buy side open. Whereas the Dow was the mitigation and the Dow taken out its buy side. That's alright, okay? I understand. Like I said, we obviously don't want to essentially go for those particular ones, but we just don't want to trade the Dow in general, okay? We want to trade the Nasdaq or the S&P. Man, that was a fantastic trade that just panned out for us. And there was an example on Monday, okay? No, Tuesday. Where on Tuesday we had the exact same swing low, also a bullish scenario, but instead of there was discrepancy, like it wasn't really paired. So, yeah. The Nasdaq and the S&P need to be paired with one another. We both have same liquidity level, or if we use the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq and the S&P need to be identical against the Dow. That's a prime example of what we've seen today. Now, like I said, Tuesday, okay? Tuesday we had a bullish example where the Dow made the breaker, the Nasdaq made the mitigation, and then the S&P also made the breaker. So we essentially had two breakers, but remember, like I said, we need the Nasdaq and the S&P to go with one another, or we are using those two as our trade scenario. It's probably not going to make too much sense for a neutral spectator. Obviously, all you guys are going to be neutral because you don't know what's going on in my kanda. Kanda means head, slang. I think it's slang. I don't know how to say slang in formal, bro. Whatever, who gives a shit? Okay, but bottom line, like, yeah, we would have wanted to see a 1:2 hit, okay? 1:2 is my optimal trade. Now, if we did not have buy side taken on any of our indices, we'd essentially hold this motherfucker all the way up to buy side. Yes, that would be a catastrophically big trade, okay? Don't know if catastrophically big is the right term, but big, okay? It would have been a big motherfucking trade, bottom line. If you know English, you know what that means, okay? Now, that's a bit unfortunate, but it's a learning curve, okay? This is something we can learn from. We can absolutely learn from this. We can absolutely pivot from this, and we can use this moving forward, all right? So I just need to make a mental note. I mean, I'll make a note right here somewhere, and you lot can watch me do it. No, so we will go right over here. Docs. Make a brand new one. Yo, can we not get a night mode on this thing, bro? Fuck's sake. Bro, my eyes are getting macked here. Okay, well, whatever. We'll figure that out, alright? General with them. No, we'll go. See, this is actually why I don't want to do it in front of you lot, because I'm not the best with typing, but whatever, you know, you gotta put yourself out there, okay? Eesh. Okay. Well, that was absolutely fantastic. That was such a good trade. Yes, we didn't take it, I know, but all it's doing is just helping me to refine my specific strategy, my plan, and these are mistakes that I've made in the past that have actually cost me money that I did not quite understand. But in today's trading session, we've been able to get a better scope of exactly why we made those particular mistakes, and it's ultimately just going to help us to, once again, like I said, redefine the strat, do a little bit better, and come back high accuracy, higher conviction, just gathering information, gathering data points. The more data we have, the more confidence we have, okay? And the more confidence we have, the easier trading will become, okay? Not like I wasn't confident before, but confidence definitely took a bit of a dip because we were doing so well prior to these live streams, and then as soon as I switched on with the live streams, it was like I wasn't getting my trade set up, and then I changed it over to a sculpting model, and then the sculpting model just wasn't working, and then it wasn't working, where I understand the price is fractal and it should continuously work consistently. So that was kind of where the mess up came, but we are here, all right. Leave a bit of a space there, just so that it's a little bit easier for us to read in the future. Okay, but that pretty much, that's a good way to go about it. Okay, that's a very big change that we can essentially implement sometime in the past. That we can implement sometime in the future. So yeah. Alright, I'm going to leave you guys to it. Let's see if we can't perhaps get another trade set up. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Alright, and that trade would have put us in at approximately 10:02, and we would have been out of that trade at 10:10. 8 minutes. 8-minute take profit. That would have been a phenomenal trade. That would have been the ideal fucking trade we were waiting for this entire week. Literally. So yeah, it's frustrating. But, you know, if there's one thing we can draw about it, we need to see everything needs to be the exact same in NQ and ES against the Dow, or we need to see SMT between the ES and NQ with the same specific liquidity levels in place. So that's phenomenal, alright? We've just been able to highlight something that we can use in the future, and it's not changing the entire framework, it's not changing anything, it's essentially just giving us more details as to what we need to look for, and it's helping us become a little bit more accurate. So that's absolutely phenomenal. We're very happy with that, okay? Yes, we are down, guys, don't worry, alright? I'm here, we are here, Christ is my Lord. Surely I shall not be forsaken if I stay true to the path and whatnot. But yeah, that's phenomenal. I'm very happy with that little discovery. Alright, we could have taken a trade, we could have lost, and we could have sat here being absolutely fucking miserable by making the same mistake twice, even though it wouldn't have been the same mistake. And guys, that's exactly why it's so bloody important to always view the marketplace not only with one asset, but have multiple different assets, okay? All it essentially does is just gives you reinforcing evidence that is just going to further promote your specific trading ideology, if it's right, if it's wrong. And you have to always be able to compare something. Like they say, comparison is the thief of joy, but I'd say comparison is the thief of loss. Don't know. We'll stick to that. That's pretty cool. Or dumb. Let me know in the comment section down below. Alright, but I can see right here there's fucking no one watching. There's no chats. I'll start it off. Alright, and you guys try and one up me on my chat right now, bro. Try to beat that. Jesus is Lord. Come on, boy. Let's get it. Let's get it. Damn, I was devastated after yesterday's trading session, eh? Chaps, I literally sat there and I was just thinking about like my whole life, bro. It was so hectic, bro. Yeah. And then I incorporated a little bit of AI into the process, and AI just made me question myself quite a few times. And that's essentially where I figured out why I went wrong and why it might have felt like it was the same specific setup as the day before, but it was completely different. Nothing about it was essentially the same. Price action might have been the same or very similar, but the drawn liquidity was not the same, okay? That's the most important part. I cannot put more emphasis on that. You guys need to understand that. Everyone needs to understand it. You need to understand that. You need to understand that. So yeah, we're gonna try and understand it, okay? Bottom line. But yeah, I'm truly elated. I'm elated when I see my framework pan out, whether I take the trade, whether I don't take the trade. It just gives me a little bit more confidence moving forward. And yeah, it's essentially just another perfect example to refer back on when you do your back testing to see exactly what characteristics occur on the winning days, what characteristics occur on the winning days, and what characteristics occur on the losing days. Likewise, what are the characteristics of days where you avoid trading altogether? That's just as important as journaling your losses and your wins. Why? Because you can avoid future losses, and you can ultimately just double down on the very things that work on the winning days, okay? And that's what we want to wait for. Once again, I have no control over price action. What I do have control over sometimes is my emotions and things. Skills you really need to hone in on are patience. It's such a funny thing, but yeah, until you actually do trading, until you take a couple losses and you understand that you only took that loss because you were impatient, that's when you'll finally grasp the importance of patience and how patience pays, okay? I absolutely don't like being patient, but I absolutely know that it is a massive skill to it's massively beneficial. It's a very good skill set to have. Thank you. Talon, all said. Nice. All said. But enjoy the music, guys. Enjoy the music. Alright, people, what kind? Bye. So in today's model, what we can highlight is that these are essentially our twins, okay? NQ and ES are our twins. We need to always look at the relationship of the twins. If the twins don't agree, we start consulting the ugly duckling, which is the Dow, alright? Now in today's example, the twins were agreeing, but the ugly duckling said something different. Now what's important here is that the twins still have the same drawn liquidity towards the upside, which is buy side and buy side, alright? That's super important. We need to see identical price action. Whereas on Tuesday we took a trade and I lost. It was a very similar to today, except our twins weren't agreeing, okay? And the drawn liquidity was the same for every single pair, but the twins weren't in accordance or weren't agreeing. They weren't seeing eye to eye, however the fuck you want to look at it, alright? And yeah, that's a brilliant way of looking at things, and I'm super excited to see what the future holds with this particular model now. Really am. Can't fucking wait, mate. Truly. Alright guys, I am gonna love and leave you lots. I will be back shortly. Cool. Alright guys, so we have seen a massive drop initially in the AM session towards the downside, where we saw a raid in sell-side liquidity on the Dow Jones, apologies, on the Nasdaq, as well as the S&P 500, where the S&P traveled further down and wanted to take sell-side in the form of previous day low. Thereafter, we were able to frame a potential trade setup, which we did not take, unfortunately, towards the upside. And it's obviously panned out pretty beautifully so far. But for right now, guys, I am gonna love and leave you guys. I'm gonna end the session here. I will see you guys tomorrow at 9:25 Eastern Standard Time, where we will do our absolute best in order to wrap up the week on good terms. But for now, thanks guys. Appreciate all your support, all your likes, all your comments, all the views. It's truly fantastic. But until tomorrow, I'll see you then. Take care. Cheers.